beautiful friends, welcome back to the channel. So today we are working on a small indoor recipe project, and this is actually one of my favorite ways of preserving produce as well as herbs, believe it or not. So what we are going to be doing today is we had a huge batch of Mad Hatter peppers that we were able to harvest off. So I've got all those guys in that basket right over there. So what we will be doing today is literally snipping the tops off, putting them tossed in a little bit of olive oil and salt into the oven to basically roast, I guess you could say, lightly in the oven for about 25-30 minutes, depending upon your oven settings. And then we will be storing them into quart Ziploc baggies. So this is sort of a oil packing method that I've developed over time that allows us to preserve our peppers in such a way that we're going to really enjoy using them. We actually use peppers this method more than any other method. And I do this with peppers across the board, anything from hatch to poblano to, jalapenos. Now, granted, with peppers roasted in the oven this way and then frozen in the freezer, they are not going to be able to be stuffed very easily. But the good news is you can make a really good mock chili relleno, like kind of casserole thing with them, and it's sublime. And I actually prefer it because I get a little bit more chili relleno. Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's not a stuffed chili relleno, but it's just as good. So sometimes preserving things in the way that is going to be the most user-friendly for you, and maybe it's not exactly to recipe, and maybe you have to alter a recipe just a little bit and make it your own, isn't a bad thing. Sometimes that's just part of what you have to do when you are learning to homestead, when you are doing small space gardening. You kind of have to learn to adapt to a little bit of a different situation, a smaller space, and a little bit more economy, I guess you could say. That would be a really old school term for what we're doing. We're using economy in what we are doing, and that means taking what we have, prepping it in such a way that it is going to be usable in the majority of what you do. So that's really the end goal, is to have what you've grown turn into something that you can preserve, or preserving it in such a way that you can use it the quickest, the easiest, as well as the way that you enjoy it most. Because if you don't enjoy eating it, there's really no point in the two other steps. Just saying. So let's go on ahead and get this party started. We have a very large basket here of beautiful Mad Hatter peppers. So all of these guys, the only thing I'm going to do today Okay, so as you guys probably noticed on this recipe, there's really next to no measurements. All I did was put enough oil over the top of all of the peppers, as you saw, to coat them well all the way around. And then I just sprinkled enough salt on there to help bring out the flavor of the peppers. It's not really for the peppers to taste salty, it's just to help boost the flavor, sort of like salting your water when you are cooking pasta. You know, you don't want your pasta water to be undersalted. It's the same thing. You're basically salting your peppers to make sure that their flavor profile is going to pop no matter how you use them. You can go on ahead and season these guys up later, and you can use these in a host of ways. So you could take all of these Mad Hatters and you could even turn them into maybe a black bean, corn, and bell pepper salsa, because it's roasted. That's all that it is. It's roasted. So you just chop it up or put it in a food processor all together, blend it all together, add a few extra seasonings, and boom, guess what? You've got a side something for a family or friend get together. You can easily add these to soups, stews, casseroles, and I have them all pre-packaged, obviously in Ziplocs, like it, lump it. I know it's plastic. I'm not saying it's the best, but right now with the space restrictions that we have going on, this is just what works for us the best. So I've got these pre-portioned out for what we would use in a meal. So literally when I go out to the freezer, I can grab this, I can grab my roast, and I'm in the house and making dinner. Believe it or not, little steps like this, having it pre-done before you need to cook, saves an exponential amount of time down the line, especially when it's the middle of the week, you need to get dinner on the table, and you don't want a lot of muss and fuss happening, because, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday happens, right? Right. So that is all I've got for you today. Obviously, it's not a technical recipe, and you are going to have to basically play around with this for you. Maybe you like your peppers a little bit more blistered and a little bit more roasted. If that's the case, you can leave them in the oven longer. There's nothing wrong with doing that. If you like them less blistered, take them out a little bit sooner. There's really no rules when it comes to doing this sort of a thing. And if you are wanting to learn a little bit more about oil packing herbs, I will show you a video on that down the line, okay? So don't forget, we have a newsletter available, and if you are interested in learning to small space garden, I've got a quick start guide that I've put together after doing this urban homesteading small space gardening thing for almost a decade. I have that available for you to download. Get your copy today. I'll drop the link to that down below as well. And guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. We'll see you on the next video.